definitely put up results in the past. He's a very, very good player. I don't think anyone can really deny that. Forsen is also a fairly well-rounded player from everything I've seen, and definitely one of the top ladder players. So, should be a good match.
Yeah. So it looks like Ek0p's going to be playing Warlock, and so is Forsen. So this is going to be
Wow.
a mirror
A
matchup
hand
here in the very
mirror.
first game. Exactly. I think a handlock mirror. And the keys to a handlock mirror. What are the biggest cards or the most notable cards that you're looking for in your mulligan?
Well, obviously you want to be able to get the Drakes and the Giants. Uh,
Yeah.
Ek0p gets to go second, which means he's probably favored since going second you do get that guaranteed turn 4 Mountain Giant if you draw it. And your Drakes are a little bit bigger on turn 4. You can coin out a turn 3 Drake, that kind of thing. I'm kind of surprised Ek0p decided to forego the turn 1 Watcher, turn 2 Owl potential. And I think this game is going to come down to a lot of like cat and mouse and trying to see who can prevent the other from playing their Giants, as well as, you know, judicious use of removal and faceless. So
Yeah, right now Forsen has the most potential for plays, again with the Twilight Drake and the Ancient Watcher. He also has a removal with the Big Game Hunter that Ek0p hasn't quite drawn yet. I don't know if Ek0p actually has a Big Game Hunter in his deck.
Yeah, I'm not sure if
Let's
he's
see if he
running
does.
Big Game Hunter, but that can be another really swingy card.
He is.
Obviously, Big Game Hunter is kind of like the perfect card to kill a giant, and not only that, but it gives you a big threat on board as well. So
Yeah, Ek0p is running Big Game Hunter, by the way, so their decks are very, very similar. Okay, so Ancient Watcher on the board, Twilight Drake on the board. What's the best play for Ek0p here?
my guess is we'll probably see that Owl hit the Twilight Drake, and then like maybe a life tap first, I guess. But the Drakes, you know, the Drakes aren't super threatening. The Watchers will get taunt and protect the player's life totals for the most part, or the Drakes will just get owled. And yeah, it kind of looks like that's what Ek0p's gonna do. Forsen is, I'm sure, pretty happy to see no Giant, no Drake on turn 4, which, you know, has to be good for him, even though he does have pretty much perfect answers.
Yeah. At least he'll get the swing with it. Will the Owl and Mortal Coil combo is the most devastating when it comes to a Twilight Drake. But neither of them have a Mortal Coil, so this will be interesting what he does with this Drake.
Yeah, I'd actually expect to see something like Ancient Watcher and then Sun Fury Protector, just the Ancient Watcher. Ek0p didn't have a Mortal Coil to play last turn. At least he might have tapped into it, but it's pretty likely that he would have just killed that Drake if he had one, even if it meant using the coin. So Forsen can be pretty sure that thing is a little bit safe. Hellfire can be a problem, but oh, he's not even going to taunt the 4/5. So he
No,
decided
so-
to tap first instead.
Yep.
That's kind of an interesting play. Like, the Sun Fury Protector would have protected his Drake.
That's true. It definitely would have. Now he's going to most likely lose it to the Ironbeak Owl here. Looks like
Yeah.
Ek0p is thinking about tapping, maybe looking for a Mortal Coil. Again, that's the most efficient way to remove that Twilight Drake.
He can't tap. He has to play something first.
Oh yeah, he's got.
got
Oh, he
yeah.
does because he has got the coin. He's still got the coin too.
Uh-oh.
So
Don't do it, Ek0p. Don't
no,
overdraw.
don't tap. Don't tap. See, what does he play though? If he plays the coin, he can have 6.
Yeah, I think
Could play the
if
Argus
you-
again. It's just like the same play that you were talking about, really. He could still do.
Yeah, I think maybe like you Farseer. Or it looks like he's thinking about hitting and then Hellfiring here.
Oh, okay.
Just clears out both minions. And if Forsen was playing around the Hellfire, like giving up the Drake, that's a pretty smart play.
Gets him closer to playing the Molten Giant too. He doesn't have a Giant or a Drake in his hand that he can play, unless he gets his health down.
Yeah, so I don't know whether that was intentional by Forsen, but he did manage to play around Hellfire pretty much perfectly there. I think I probably would have gotten wrecked by it. So
Yeah, it's kind of a weird dynamic with the handlock versus handlock because typically when you're playing other matchups, you do kind of want to get your health low so you can get those cheap Molten Giants. But in the mirror matchup, the Leroy, power overwhelming, faceless manipulator combo makes it a lot more difficult to really set up for that. And I see a lot of people generally trying to keep over 20 health a lot of
Yeah,
times in this matchup.
yeah, which is kind of counter to the goal of the Molten Giants.
Right.
And we actually see that full combo in Ek0p's hand. He's got, except no, sorry, he's missing the Leroy, but we
Yeah.
do see two pieces. We see the faceless and the power overwhelming. So yeah, Forsen could get bursted out here before getting any real taunters down.
He does have two Sun Fury protectors, so it's just a matter of just drawing the Giants at this point. He'll be able to throw up those taunts immediately. He's got a faceless too, so he can copy any kind of huge taunts once he gets them down. Looks
That's
like Ek0p just drew a Twilight Drake though.
Yeah, that's a good draw for Ek0p. He hasn't really had anything to play yet. I mean, he's thrown down a couple of, like, he's thrown down a Watcher, he's thrown down an Owl, and hasn't really had a whole lot to play. So Twilight Drake's something that he can at least throw down without having to worry about too much. Although Forsen also has a bird to silence the Drake as well. But
Okay, so let's see, Ek0p.
So many possibilities.
Alright, he's gonna throw down the Twilight Drake, and it's looking like he's really thinking about it. He's hovering it over there.
yeah, I mean, we might see something like Coin Earthen Ring or something afterwards. He can't really tap here because it puts him at 10 cards.
Right.
So he would, like, tapping here is just the same as waiting to draw next turn, except you lose 2 life. So
Okay, so
yeah, and
indeed-
he does throw another minion down, which I think is correct.
Alright, so the board's looking pretty good for Ek0p there. It's not going to be cleared by a Shadow Flame or anything like that right off the bat, but he's going to go. He does have an Owl that can totally nullify the Twilight Drake, and then I guess at that point he can Shadow Flame and clear the board if he really wants.
Owl Shadow Flame is pretty good. I mean, he gets in 3 damage, clears Ek0p's board, and
Yeah, it's a good
now we
play.
see both players with 2 pieces of that 20-point burst combo that you were talking about.
It could just be a matter of who gets it first. This is going to be
Or who has
Pretty
the
exciting.
opportunity to play it first.
right. And Ek0p right now is the only. He is under 20, so he's definitely susceptible to it. You do have to get to the 10 mana, or at least 10. Turn 10, so you have 10 mana.
So many.
But we're getting really close there. Let's see, Ek0p. Choices for Ek0p. Still can't play the Molten Giant. He's thinking about tapping, but again, if he taps, he's gonna. I guess he even Siphon Soul is gonna even put him in the 20 range.
Yeah, I mean, 19 is not a whole lot different from 17 in terms of the burst damage. He doesn't really have anything good to play, so I don't think there's like any reason not to tap here. At the very least, it gives him the chance for maybe a Mountain Giant.
Yeah.
Maybe
Drake.
maybe another Twilight Drake or something.
So
Yeah.
many possibilities.
And it sets him up to play the Molten Giant the next turn too.
Yeah, I mean, Forsen might even decide not to attack with the Owl, just because of Molten Giant shenanigans. But yeah, kind of a difficult turn for Ek0p here. Ooh,
He draws
another-
another Molten Giant. So he's going to go ahead and throw down the Defender of Argus. Needs something on the board to take care of that Owl.
Yeah, and that's definitely the right one. I mean, he's got the second Defender in hand. He has a Sun Fury Protector as well, but this way, use up more of your mana. And I mean, the Defender of Argus is fantastic for taunting things like Drakes, so they can kill Yetis. But
For
the only thing that a giant kills, being a 9/9 instead of an 8/8, is another taunted giant with Defender of Argus. So it's like,
Forsen actually has the potential for 20 damage on turn 9 with the double Soulfire.
it's
'Cause
true.
He's got the faceless Leroy already. So he could be setting up lethal right here. He just wants to throw something on the board, get Ek0p to be distracted to an extent and have to remove this stuff, and then he's just going to finish the game here.
Yeah, I think I actually would have hit face there with the Owl, because
Yeah.
if you go Leroy, Faceless, and Soulfire, you do have the risk of discarding the other Soulfire.
Yeah,
And
you do. You always
hitting
run that
face-
risk.
yeah. Hitting face, you actually don't have that risk. So
Yeah, right now the hands, right, I know you guys are seeing the hands. The hands are we're having a little bit of technical issues right now, but we're trying to work through it as the game's going on. But yeah, you're right. The Soulfire is potentially it's always that really
Possibility.
brutal situation where you drop the other Soulfire when there's still like 6 other cards that you could have dropped. And so
Yeah,
that's
and I mean,
potential.
anyone who's switched over and tried like any kind of Warlock knows that anytime you need Soulfire to not discard the other Soulfire, it does. And
Right?
anytime your opponent plays a Soulfire, he discards anything but the other Soulfire. So it just never works out for you, right?
Yeah, it looks like Ek0p's thinking about Hellfiring and Immortal Coiling the Sun Fury Protector here, and that's going to totally put him in range of lethal even without the second Soulfire. So this
Yeah.
could be game ending for Ek0p right here.
Yeah, he didn't really have a great way to clear that board. So Forsen, I mean, even without hitting face, actually is now able to kill Ek0p without
He
potential.
throws out a thank you. And then another thank you.
Ek0p,
And then Ek0p replies with a
right
thank you. And then he shows off the other Soulfire. He's going to finish it with the faceless on the Leroy Jenkins, and that's going to be 16 damage, killing Ek0p, and Forsen takes the first game. Goes up 1-0 in this best of 5 series in our first group